So I bought this beautiful dress for a wedding that I have in like less than a week, but it's way too big and it's way too long and the straps are just about to leave me a nip slip. We're gonna try to change this into something that is actually my size. Wish me luck. If this doesn't work, I'm probably gonna cry. To start, I'm laying my fabric on a flat surface, minus the floor, and I'm just using a dress to trace around what I want this dress to look like. I've had to be a bit creative in terms of like laying out the dress based on where I want the pattern to sit, instead of just doing it based on like the fabric itself, because there's some prints that I want to sit like at certain areas of my body. But yeah, I'm just tracing around it, and then I'm going to pin along those lines and I'm going to stitch along those lines that we've traced. Now we're moving on to fixing the top, because that is way too big as well. So what I'm doing is I am seam ripping these straps so I can reattach them. So I'm taking my time because I don't want to rip through any of the seams or the fabric. I'm just going ahead and seam ripping or taking out each of these individual stitches until it separates from the overall dress. Bear in mind, I'm not cutting off the straps itself, and then for the excess threads, I'm just going to make sure that we cut that off so it's a clean finish. So I didn't get this on camera, but we folded the dress down at the top where we want the new kind of neckline to sit, and as you can see, I've pinned that. Now what I need to do is reattach this strap, and doing that this way is going to help it be a tiny bit shorter than it was before, which means it's not going to be as loose as it was before. So I'm kind of sewing it like I would if you were doing like a bias strap or bias tape. So I'm pinning one side onto the cowl neck neckline, and then I'm going to stitch that and fold it over and do the other side. So yeah, as you can see, one side has been stitched. Now I'm just folding over the bias once and folding again and then pinning that in place, and then we're going to stitch along that line. So I tried it on, and to be fair, it looked kind of okay, like it was taken up. But the weird thing is, in the middle there's like this excess, just because I kind of moved up where the waist sits. So as you can see, that there's so much additional fabric here that we need to get rid of, and I didn't know how to do it. So at this point I decided to turn it into a two-piece set instead of a dress and kind of finesse it that way. So yeah, back to the drawing board, two-piece set. So to do the two-piece set, I marked for myself where I want the skirt to kind of sit in terms of the waist, and then I marked about 1 inch up just for our seam allowance, and then I'm going to take off this dress and make sure that it's level all the way around, and then we know where we're cutting and stitching. So I've laid the dress flat, and I'm marking from that initial point of chalk how long the skirt is going to be, and then I'm just using that and marking at different points of the dress just to make sure that it's a straight line all the way across. Then I'm going to take my ruler and connect those dots with the chalk, and then we're going to cut along those lines. Bear in mind, you want to cut at the second point that we made for seam allowance, not at the first point that we made. Now we can add the elastic to the waistband of our skirt, and to do that I've just measured my waist circumference. Mine is about 26, and cut that out. Sometimes it can help to minus like 1 inch just to make sure that the skirt fits really snugly. So I'm going around and I'm pinning the elastic on the inside all the way around, and making sure that where the elastic overlaps is at the side seam. So I used an overcast stitch to attach the elastic to the skirt, and then once we have stitched all the way around, we're going to fold the elastic down by about 1 inch, and we're going to stitch in the ditch on the side seams just to secure it in place, as you can see here. Now we have our skirt, and we just need to work on the top. As you can see, the top is a bit long, and I want it to be a crop top. So again, I'm taking my chalk and I'm marking on myself where I want the top to come up to. I know I marked it here initially. I think I took it up a little bit afterwards. But yeah, I'm marking where I want it to sit, and I'm marking the 3 points where I want it to sit, just so it's kind of clear when I take it off. And I'm measuring down from the neckline down to where the hem or the bottom of the top is going to sit, again to make sure that that's neat and even all the way around. And then once we've done that, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to connect those dots and I'm going to cut along that line. One thing that I can say about this fabric is that you don't have to hem it just because it doesn't fray, which makes life so much easier. But it does mean that you have to be really accurate with the length or the hems that you are measuring and cutting out, just to make sure that they are as neat and accurate and even as possible. As an additional step, not to hem it, but just to make it look a bit neater, I ended up folding the back or the side seams of the top up by like 1 inch, about 1/2 inch, and I just pinned that in place and then stitched along just that pinned line on our sewing machine, just so that the back kind of looks like it's folded up, but then the top still has a raw hem. I just think in terms of the end result, it just looks a bit neater than having the raw hem at the back, which just looked a bit weird. But definitely you can skip this step if you don't feel the need to do it. Once you've made that stitch, then we are all done. Here is the final review. I'm actually pretty impressed with how this came out, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.